By the way, I'm here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special discussion today here at CxO Global TV. CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform for all C levels across the globe. We take massive pride in contributing to the knowledge economy with our League of Extraordinary Thought Leaders. Now, they're not just domain experts, but those key individuals who have made a substantial mark even in the policy making and governance of the fields that they're working in. Today, the topic that I chose was something that had been the buzzword these days: Chat GPT-3. So, with the Web 3.0 and its advent, we've got a plethora of opportunities that have opened up, and exploring the capabilities and limitations of OpenAI's Chat GPT-3 is something that we wanted to explore today and ask our panel of experts. So, without further ado, let me introduce the panel for today to you. Joining us is Mr. Usman Bukhary, the VP Solutions at Mr. Mohammad Ismail, the founder and CEO of Rich Technologies, Mr. Noman Khalid, founding partner, COO, Love for Data, and last but not the least, definitely, I keep saying this, and I'm so proud of this here at CXO, that whenever we have four men, we've got three or four men, and we've got one woman that is enough to tackle the questions and the knowledge from all of them. So uh, that was just on a lighter note, ladies and gentlemen. But we've got a brilliant Miss Zunaira Omar joining us. She's the CEO of the Square Peg. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Um, Without further ado, let me start by asking, uh, the topic at hand from Ms. Zunaira. Now, Ms. Zunaira, I've been hearing about Chat GPT-3 and a lot about OpenAI. So if you could please give our audiences a brief about what exactly is Chat GPT-3 and how does it work?
Sure. Thank you so much, Anza, and thank you for the introduction. So, obviously, just a disclaimer, I am not an expert, but I will try my best to give you an insight on what. So, Chat GP3 is just a part of GP3, which is the bigger domain. So, GP3 is basically, it stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's a machine learning network, and it has which can be used for text generation, which can be used for image generation, which can actually be used to carry out a human sounding conversation. So under the umbrella of GP3, we have Chat GPT, the chatbot that everybody is talking about. And then we have DAL-E, which is the image generation um, uh, part of GPT-3. So what it is and what it does is that it is it has been trained using 500 billion tokens, which has been fed to it, which includes Wikipedia and Common Crawl. So generally, it takes information from all around the internet and then combines it in different ways, given the prompt or given the question that the user asks. So what we're trying to do
Right. Thank
is
you,
to
ma'am.
imitate, yeah. So what we're trying to do is to imitate humans.
Thank you, ma'am. And that was quite comprehensive. Definitely something that is revolutionary. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been, I'm a keen observer, a learner of artificial intelligence and all things tech. For those who know me at CXO will know this. So back in the day when we were younger, Dali was had been launched recently, and they were just in their beta phase. And I used to keep typing. I kid you not, trying to outsmart the AI by typing things like "red Ferrari in front of the Eiffel Tower with snow," and even then, the images that it produced were strikingly accurate. Sometimes I even went on to trick it to the extent that what would be the image like if I add something that is very, very different and maybe something you can't find online. For instance, adding perhaps a Pakistani cricketer to the image. So, this is something that has been in the works for some time. But let me route my next question to Mr. Mohammed Ismail. So, what are some of the capabilities, like impressive capabilities of ChatGPT 3, apart from just generating text and images in the larger context of things? But let's just talk about the language generation and text completion part of it.
Okay. Thank you, Anza, for adding me in this discussion. First of all, I'm not the expert of the artificial intelligence, but I'm the student of the artificial intelligence. If we talk about the Chat GPT, we have to go one step back. Actually, what is the artificial intelligence, and then we can say we can talk about the Chat GPT. Like it was from the long time ago, it was a human, you can say, is a curiosity, it should be a some machine, it should be a something that can do the the work, automate the work,
Right.
so human don't need to the work, some other machine can do the work. And before, there's too much distortion in the backend side.
Yes,
Can you please?
there is a lot of background noise. I would request the rest of the speakers. We've had this
Yeah, thank
come
you so
out
much.
from the audience as well. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. I will do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So when we go into a little bit in history, it was from the first day, everybody want to be make a automation. So before the artificial intelligence, there was some people did with the programming to make some automation with the calculated steps. But whenever there is some the scenario that is discussed or not handled, always the automation failed. Then people talked about the artificial intelligence to it should be a some machine, some algorithm that can handle the all kind of scenarios. Same like if you have some assistant and you give us some information and some guidance to him or her, but based on to the previous knowledge, that assistant can make a new decisions, or the can handle the tackle the new situation that might be you haven't discussed. So artificial intelligence is working on to the same principles, just giving the sampling data to the what
Right.
is happened in the previous, and the what is the figures each and everything based onto the sampling. No, artificial intelligence is able to make a new decisions. Like this time you are talking to the Chat GPT, you can ask any question, might be that is not give a sampling data, but based onto the previous knowledge, the Chat GPT can give you the new information that you will not handle. So we have to understand actually the artificial intelligence. When someone
Right.
having a clear concept of the artificial intelligence and the data sampling, he can easily utilize the Chat GPT for his own personal tasks, like that related to the any field. It would be related to the technology, it would be related to the your even the for your personal things, even related to your home. Like that, if let's suppose you have a house and you are asking like I have these things to, and how I can decorate to my house home. I have this space and these walls. Artificial intelligence or the Chat GPT definitely would help you. So everything is to understand the artificial intelligence, then you can talk to the Chat GPT, and there is a like the, I can say there is no any limitation in the Chat GPT. Just have to talk into the artificial intelligence way. When you are giving the prompt, when you are giving to the instructions to the artificial intelligence, give in a correct way. If you are giving in a right way, definitely you will understand your question and you will get your answers. Sometimes even in these days, I'm seeing on the internet sometimes people making a jokes and the fool with the Chat GPT. uh, okay, as a fun it's fine, but
Mhm.
I think it would be great if we use in a right way. If you are asking to the artificial intelligence is the right question, you will get the right information, and it would help us a lot to you can say the save the time, we don't need to do the same
Right, sir.
the traditional work, and you can work on to the creative things, and the things that you are doing daily daily routine, you can get these assistants, and that Chat GPT can work for you, you can
Absolutely,
automate
sir.
your
You made
text
some very
support.
pertinent points. Thank you, sir. You made some very
Mhm.
pertinent points. I'm also getting a lot of feedback from the audiences that are watching. Mr. Usman Bukhary, sir, we used to hear about, whenever the perception was about like 10 years from now, well, is that there are human languages like the ones that you and I communicate in English, Urdu, French, Arabic, etc., etc. And then there are machine languages which are more like coding and SQL. Not मतलब वो एक अलग ही जबान होती है, if I were to talk about it in colloquial terms. But here's our question: now that the lines are blurred between the human language communication with AI. What are some of the limitations that you sense of Chat GPT-3, such as maybe the lack of common sense, or what are some of the ethical considerations?
First of all, thank you, Anza, for inviting all of us here. And about the Chat GPT, so I wanted to start. So every new technology, whenever a new technology comes into this world, so people normally try to overestimate in the shorter run and underestimate the longer term impact of it. Let me give you a historical perspective for that. When the cars were invented about 100 years ago, I think, do you know that for each car, it need to travel, it need to have a mechanic in place because car were used to break down every mile there. But now imagine the car at this stage. So Chat GPT at this moment has lots of limitations. It's just a brute force of training so much data and a lot of computation. But underlying technology, underlying models are not at mature as much mature as we need to have a like acceptable, reasonable AI. Being said that, of course, it will solve many problems. It will give us many free the human workers from repeatable tasks. But the current trend that we are seeing, it's good. Hype will, of course, like crypto hype is here, but I think we should focus on the longer term impact. For the longer term impact, so there are two three things I wanted to discuss. First, Chat GPT has been trained on the publicly available data sets. The most important data sets are highly guarded in the enterprises. Chat GPT cannot access that. So I am more interested how ChatGPT can be fine-tuned for their data sets. For example, a sales organization is doing something and they have a very specific, well-guarded knowledge in an enterprise. If we can give ChatGPT their data set, ChatGPT will be able to do not just ChatGPT just an interface. GPT will be able to do a lot of more things. So OpenAI recently released not only the ChatGPT version, they also released an API. In the API, we can actually train that. We can actually contextualize it and see how the outcome. And there is another very interesting concept recently, like after the Chat GPT became apparent, is the contextual learning. For example, Chat GPT has been learning a lot on the open data sets. If we give it an example, for example, I want to write a cold email to Anza, and this is my offer, and this is what I do, and this is the sample email that I normally follow. So give me a concise version or something like that. So we are giving it not only the instruction, but also some examples, and it will create quick variations that will help a lot. So this idea of contextual learning is very powerful. So before that, before Chat GPT, the machine learning practitioner used to do supervised learning. So in supervised learning is we to give a lot of example to computer program and see like this is a dog, this is a cat, this is a dog, this is a
Absolutely.
cat. So this new contextual learning, we don't need to give them a lot of example. It can grasp ideas. So that's very interesting. But being said that, there are certain limitation to it. Let me give you an example. For example, if you we call it adversarial example. So adversarial example to chat GPT could be I need 5 ducks to paint my wall. So how much time it will take if one duck take this much time? So ChatGPT will not know duck cannot do the painting, so it will give you an answer, but without realizing the concept behind it. So its knowledge is superficial.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of superficial knowledge, here's another question that has been, you know, a research area of mine as well. So, what, one of the 21st century skills that we see to make someone future ready, the mid career professionals or the young professionals of today, is analytical skills and reasoning, right? The ability to think, logic, formulate ideas, creativity. Now, these are some of the soft skills that we now expect even accountants to have because of the trend that the world is following now, and especially post COVID, how the work environment has changed. Now, with the advent of Chat GPT, now I've even seen some students in universities currently who are literally typing things like, asking Chat GPT. So I have to write an API paper on, let's say, machine learning and its implications in the 21st century. And then they have, plagiarism free content that's there. Apart from that, I've also seen some young professionals who are literally typing in, "Hey, I need a cover letter. Here's my latest CV. Please write me a cover letter." Are we not taking away individuality, creativity, analytical skills, reasoning, learning? What do you think would be the implications of the future?
That's a good question. So, are you sure it's the analytical reasoning that's taking away the GPT from us? It's not. It's actually the cramming. So, for example, we used to teach our kids like write an essay on cat. So, it's not a creativity. So, of course, that will like literally change our societies. Recently, I saw that Chat GPT passed a lawyer exam in
Yes,
US.
absolutely.
It passed an MBA degree, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
published
absolutely.
it published a research paper on a like reputed journal. So we really need to
Absolutely.
rethink
Fact
on that.
factor one. Absolutely. But and sir, but with having said that, we also saw that recently some non-ethical hackers wrote a code for ChatGPT to destroy itself. Now, what's preventing such instances from happening in the future? Because we put all these data sets, and then we're also exposing that to any kind of malicious activity.
That's a very good question. So there are a couple of things that we need to consider. First is I think that's why OpenAI has been releasing it in a like step-by-step process. First they
Step.
released in a smaller version, then the larger version. So most important thing is there are human biases that were encoded in the dataset that came into ChatGPT as well. So for example, bias against the minorities, biased against women, biased against blacks, all of these are present in the ChatGPT, and engineers need to solve that to be able to useful here. Second, other thing is like the copyright. For example, someone has written something and ChatGPT learned from it and write it there, so they may be able to bring it to the court of law and say.
Surpass the plagiarism aspect of it. Very interesting points raised. Mr. Noman, let's come over to you and the same questions to you. Let's see if you have a different opinion.
So thank you for that. So I understand what the threat is, and what we are talking about here is on larger scale. You know, what we are talking about is replacing people with Chat GPT and actually not GPT but the models like GPT-3 that are there at the back end. And yes, there's a lot of talk which is going on about killing of creativity and all of that. But I really in my personal opinion, I think there's a long way to go when it comes to imitating the creativity, the intelligence of human mind itself. So yes, you know, models trained on GPT-3, they can perhaps do tasks which are more analytical in nature, or they can perhaps do tasks which are within their realm of what the model is trained for. But thinking out of the box, building up something creative, coming up with something new which is not there in their training data, that is something that they are still going to struggle with, and that is something which is still not covered, right? So the creativity aspect of it, that will remain. What we need to understand is it's time to automate. It's time to let go of things that are monotonous in nature. And you know, if you can get rid of those things, you can actually think more creatively. You know, so there are many things which are very monotonous in nature. There are many things which can be standardized. You know,
So,
and
so
we
sorry to
do
cut
have these
there,
concepts, so
but you
that
raised a very
basically
important
helps a lot more.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, sir. Maybe there's a lag in the connection. But sir, you've raised a very pertinent point, and I'm glad you brought this up because I was waiting for it to be brought up. You spoke about some of the monotonous things that have been happening. Let's talk about, let's say, for I'm traveling and I use Google Translate, for instance, or we use some of the other AI tools that are available on the market, like Copy.ai, Writer, etc. So, can Chat GPT-3 be used for tasks like translation, summarization, and how would it compare to the traditional methods and tasks for methods and tools that we have available for such tasks?
So yes, you can use it for translation. I've done it recently as well, because I ran a comparative analysis between Google and Bing and ChatGPT. So yes, that is very much possible, and there are different outputs actually. To be honest, It's not the same output which is being generated by all the platforms. There's a lot more conversational tone that you would find in chat GPT, whereas in other platforms that are offering translation, it's a lot more formal in nature. That you would see if you actually do a comparative analysis, you would see that happening. But besides that, yes, translation is one of the items that does. Summarization is another feature that ChatGPT offers. You can actually run. You can actually throw hundreds of articles to the GPT-3 model and expect it to summarize it for you, and will do that and will come up with some sort of a summary. But then you will also identify that it's not coherent in nature. So in some of the situations, you will find that there was a break between paragraphs, or there was a break between sentences, or the idea changed and it was not that coherent because some other document dominated the next output. So at the back end, what is happening is it's a probabilistic model, right? It predicts what the next word would be. On occasions, that probability will not come out to be in favor of the right answer. And in that situation, you will end up with an incoherent sentence or an incoherent paragraph. And that's when you will understand that's actually not human writing, not human summary, because it's all a probabilist. At the end of the day, entire machine learning is probabilistic modeling, right? So even these, they predict what the next item would be, what the next word would be, and that prediction can go wrong. And that's where you will understand that although the summarization aspects are very good, but then that's where the errors come in as well. And so yeah, summarization, that can definitely happen. Translations, that can actually happen. It can translate pages and pages within a go, and that's all there. But yes, there's a downside of it as well, because it's based on a probabilistic model and not actually a human who is doing it. So there are limitations to that.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Mr. Noman, and I'm glad
I
today
just
once
want
again
to,
that we have
and
individuals
I
like
just want to add a one thing. I just
yes, sir.
want to
Just
add a one thing in Anoman, like that,
I'll
as
come
you
to
talked about the.
give me a second. So I'm glad
Sure, sure.
that we have individuals like Mr. Noman and all the other panelists today who are actually doing their research preemptively, and we at CxO Global have the honor of presenting these tasks to you. Mr. Ismail, I'll just come to you in a moment. Madam Zunaira has something to add here as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anza. So I think that sort of just my 2 cents on the conversation that followed. I think that we are on the brink of an AI revolution, right? When the industrial revolution came, people were reluctant. They thought that their jobs would be taken away. So I think it's just that the nature of jobs would change. So as a marketeer, content, text generation, if you just summarize or boil it down, that's what we do, right? We generate text. So as a marketeer, I think that our job would become more difficult because
Or
they'll be
would it be
standardized.
that, ma'am, would it be that a lot of your content writers will become jobless now?
Yes. So I think that they would not become jobless, but the nature of job would change. It will become more strategic in nature as opposed to more, routine or more robotic. So they would be generating content. They would not be generating the actual content, but they would be overseeing that the content that is generated is strategically correct. So the nature, and then how you prompt the AI, I think that will become your skill. That how can you use the AI to generate the content as you want. So yes, the nature of jobs will change, and it'll be more difficult to achieve a competitive edge. Why? Because everybody has this AI at their disposal that can generate content that's of the standard of the highest of content writer. So then how do we stand out? How do
But
we,
ma'am,
yeah, I
sorry to
think
cut.
that would be the main issue.
Isn't it the purpose of Web 3.0 to actually give everyone a level playing field, not only those who can actually afford to pay for all these tools and Grammarly's and writers and copy.ai? So don't you think that is the very
Absolutely, but
purpose
then
of it?
absolutely, but then as a marketer, it would make my job more difficult, right? Because previously my strengths were, oh hey, I'm good in content, I have the best content writing team, nobody else has access to it. No, you can't poach my team because I have built this great team culture that keeps them happy, and these resources are my key strength. But now there'll be a paradigm shift, there'll be a disruption. I need to look into now ways of developing resources that know how to use AI in a way that nobody else has thought of before. And that is how my job as a marketer would change. And we really need to jump into the wagon sooner rather than later, because otherwise we'll be left far, far, far behind.
Ma'am, you've made a very pertinent point. And before I move over to Mr. Ismail, let me ask you this very briefly. So, as a marketer, rather as a CEO, as a leader at this point in time, what are some of your recommendations for the mid-career or young professionals of today to sort of upskill themselves? What are some of the skills that they should be acquiring? Because no university course right now has an inculcation of ChatGPT-3.
Oh my God, Anja, you just touched two of the points that I'm a huge proponent about. I'll try to keep it short because once I get off my soapbox, there's no getting me down off it. But the thing is that we at the Square Peg, we are a learning organization, because what we've realized, I have worked previously, and I am so sorry actually, because of the background noise. So, anyways, so the thing is that we are a learning organization where we have these regular learning sessions that keep our entire team updated on the latest technologies. And then we need to realize that, okay, this is Web 3.0, this is blockchain, this is cryptocurrency, these are NFTs, this is Chat GPT-3. Then how do, as a marketeer, how is it relevant to us? How is this being monetized? And then how can we how do we need to market it? Because wherever there's monetization, marketing comes hand in hand. So my recommendation would be that keep abreast of these technologies. It's the company's responsibility to ensure that there are regular learning sessions where people learn not about the latest technologies, but how it is relevant to their career. How would it apply to their job, and how it would become a part of the job description? What new roles will occur, and how do we train resources for that? So, and they also need to sit down with universities and develop an alignment between industry and the curriculum, so that the curriculum is also updated. We're not still teaching them, I don't know, MA in Islamiyat. And I'm not putting it down because of this, because we have had graphic designers who have done in masters in Islamiyat. They have no idea how they would fit in the job industry. So I think that is really important.
Thank you, madam. It was not just knowledgeable, but also very passionate. We appreciate that. Mr. Ismail, thank you for your patience and your 2 cents to
No
what we
problem.
were
It's
talking
okay.
about.
Yeah. The Zunaira really, like, she talked very well about the like the youngsters and what they have to do, and the new marketing kind of stuff. We touched a lot of points. When we talk about some specific jobs and the specific roles, then we have to move on to the fine-tune models. Like if someone having a job now is a translation, so he has to go onto the fine-tune model, where first he has to sampling to their model. I have this Arabic language, I have Urdu, English, and the other languages. Then they can get like the better results from the AI, either the Chat GPT or the new tools that will come in the future. For the universities and the other students, I think like Chat GPT is just a product. And first we have to to talk about the artificial intelligence, where whether there is a lot of things that the people can do. If any student if they have to jump into the artificial intelligence, first of all, I think our universities, they should add a artificial intelligence course in all the fields. Either is a they are doing a software engineering, they are doing a computer like a civil engineering, any field. Either is the subject or the field is the arts. They should have to add a artificial intelligence, so they can understand how I can train my model for my job. So then they can get the better results. Okay. And then we can, this time people are talking about the jobs can be gone, and it should be a lot of jobs will be finished due to the artificial intelligence. I don't think, yes, in one perspective, yes, but then other perspective, there's a new jobs will be created, because no, we have to redefine a lot of things, as we talked about the copyright, about the other stuff. So this time, the things that we were doing from the hundreds of years, now everything everywhere is available. So we have to redefine what would be the meaning of the copyright now. What would be the definition of the copyright? What would be the definition of the marketing? Everything. Then the person, our AI machines will do the work that we are doing from the last hundreds years, and now is the era is going to start where we will talk about the creativity. We have to explore the universe, and the things that we are
Right.
talking now might be after 10 years or after 5 years or after 20 years. The boards are the machine are talking about these conversations, and the human are like moved on to the next step to explore the universe, to talk about the other stuff like that. There's a lot of other things that we have to explore this time. Is a disease, is the like the challenges of the human life, and there's also domains about the death, kind of like, there's a lot of things that
That's a
currently like
beautiful
we are wasting.
that's a
We are
beautiful thought.
wasting the time. Mhm. Yeah.
Very far-fetched, sir, and thank you for sharing, giving us that perspective in the grander scheme of things. Definitely, I am also a proponent of the fact that maybe in the long run, when machines or when AI replaces these mundane tasks, perhaps we as human beings will face another round of evolution where we are going to be more focused on the greater perspective of things. So, yes, sustainability, whether it's space and technology, aerospace engineering, things like that. Let me come to Mr. Usman Bukhary. I know he has some very pertinent points to add. But sir, while you're at it, जो आपके कुछ advice हैं for youngsters watching us today, I also have to ask you technical questions. You mentioned the language models. What is the future of language models like ChatGPT-3, and how will they continue to impact various industries? Because we've already seen a competitor. परसों Newsweek में छप के आया था कि Microsoft is coming up with Bard.
So yes, small correction. I think Google came up with Bard. Microsoft is behind OpenAI. Yes. So first of all, I wanted to frame the problem in a better way. For it's not a problem is not going to be the Chat GPT generally. It's a generative AI. So generative AI in images, in speech. OpenAI recently launched Whisper, that text to speech with a very good imitations. आप किसी भी sound को imitate कर लेते हैं किसी भी बंदे को बड़ा जल्दी से. So generative AI will change the way we work, will change the way we think. And it's a very pertinent question for parents like me. I have two small daughters who are like, one is 3 years old, one is 5 years old. I'm now wondering, in which world they will, when they will grow up, in which environment they will work. I'm not sure. Current curriculum, will it work or not? The current way we teach children, will it work? I'm not sure it will work. For example, I remember that in my childhood, we were not allowed to use calculators in the exam. And later on, calculator is the standard tool in here. So Chat GPT may be a calculator of some sorts in some ways. And we need to understand that. Parents need to understand that. Teachers, universities need to understand that. Critical thinking, analytical reasoning, empathy with the human relationships, all these cannot be replaced by the AI. Second, I think I agree with Zunaira on this. Like ChatGPT currently is a hype. It's very easy to get differentiated with the AI right now. When everyone has an AI right on their fingerprints, so everyone will be doing the same message to others. So it's the job of the marketer to stand out. It will be very difficult for them to stand out. So ChatGPT, like everyone else, the hype will die. But there are a couple of examples. For example, I was just looking into this. Imagine Alexa or any virtual assistant. That's more powerful. Imagine. Let me give you a creepy example. Imagine your grandparents, and you have their data. You have enough their talk, their voices, the way they type, the way they speak. You have all that data, and you create a character out of Chat GPT and train that model onto them, and you can talk to them like they are in front of you. It's like very creepy, and I think maybe someone will do that soon. If just imagine that. So kind of like we are saving the consciousness of humans, the way they speak, the way they think, into the machines.
Absolutely. And it's a very interesting point that you raised, because for those of you who have an Amazon Prime subscription, I would recommend watching a show called Upload. And it talks exactly about what Usman Bhai just mentioned about uploading the human consciousness, memories of someone in virtual reality, and sort of giving that perception like they're still alive. And we understand the science behind it. It's not like it's not possible. It's not a question about whether or not it will happen, but a question about when it will happen. So Mr. Noman, Usman Sahib, I'll come to you in a bit. Sir, in the interest of time, let me ask you this. We've had a very productive discussion today. Different opinions were shared. But Mr. Noman, I'd like to ask you, um, we've heard about some of the challenges, but let's talk about being a bit more progressive. How can Chat GPT-3 be improved, and what are some of the ways in which it can be made more useful and advanced?
That's a tough one. Okay, so so to begin with, right? One being there are a lot of use cases that need to be explored right now, which is not happening at the moment, right? It just came out. Actually, it came out an year ago, and there have been some companies that have been working on it. So when we talk about various use cases that can deliver, it can be a brilliant customer service agent. That could be one. It could be brilliant at generating documents. It could be very useful in fixing your bugs. It could be very useful in improving your SQL queries or improving your overall code. So if you give code to a model like ChatGPT or a GPT model at the back end, if you give them a piece of code, it can actually it can actually optimize it for you. That can also be done. So there are various use cases even in a normal daily life, like you are on the road, you can actually translate things, you can actually pass on an image, and using two or three combinations of models, you can actually make translate it on the go as well, or you can actually churn out conversations in entirety. That can also happen, right? So there's a lot that we will now begin exploring. Like you mentioned, that once the hype dies down, and then only the serious ones who actually want to do something about it, they will be the ones who will be looking at it, and that's when you will start seeing a lot of potential use cases. And it's not, I don't think it's something to be scared about. Yes, we will need to evolve. Yes, we will need to do better. Asking someone to do better is not something wrong, right? So we will need to do better. We will need to write better content. We will need to make better messages. We will need to come up with better ideas. But demand for being better is not the problem. The problem is that we don't want to adapt to it. Otherwise, AI has been in your hands since ages now. Take an example of a Snapchat. When you open a filter and it gives you a filter that's actually AI, you don't feel threatened by it, but it's AI. Similarly, this is just AI which has been given to you. It's up to us how we want to benefit, how we want to use it more positively, or we want to, there's this news going on where a person actually asked, where questions were thrown on how to smuggle drugs, and there were answers to that as well from ChatGPT. So yes, that use is also there, and that is also going to get more difficult. So modern problems require modern solutions. But nonetheless, I think there's a lot of positivity that can happen, a lot of communication that can improve, a lot of customer experiences that can become better. You can scale. At one side, we are complaining that there's more that humans will have to do, but on the flip side of it, if you know how to do it well, you can scale better. And for businesses, scaling is a problem. So can we do it right? Can we fix it? Can we use it in a way that we can actually use it to scale? Perhaps we can do that as well. So it's, if you put a negative lens, it's all negative otherwise.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Noman. Some very pertinent points raised indeed. Important discussion to have. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask Mr. Mohammed Ismail to briefly give me his answer to the next question that I'm going to be asking him. So, Mr. Noman did point towards a very important aspect of Chat GPT-3 and such platforms, scalability for businesses. What are the top 3 ways in which the monetization can happen? What is your prediction?
Is question to me?
Yeah. Yes, Mohammed Ismail.
Okay. I have not that much knowledge onto the monetization currently. So it would be a great, I think, another person to answer this. I would like to speak onto the Chat GPT, how we can transfer the transfer our businesses to the other. Like currently we are working on to the sport. Like currently, you know, a lot of businesses they have a sport teams. So we are working on to it like specifically to train the models and then give them the all knowledge and the sample data to their sport products. And after that, there's a chat GPT which is
Right. Sir, I think we're losing your connection for some time. Maybe I can pass on this question, Mr. Usman Bukhary. Sir, just very quickly, sir, Mr. Usman, if you can tell us about the monetization aspect, like where are the opportunities? Where do the opportunities lie?
So recently, someone did very strange thing. So what they did was like, I think I don't remember the name of the artist, but they did was like he did a deal with a content or some party that every new song generated from his material, his lyrics will be copyrighted to that brand. So that's a very good example of that. So for example, a book writer can say that this is the example that I have created. Everything that's inspired by the generative AI via that book, via that piece of art, will have the copyright. Something very simple I wanted to just share.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, and for that very creative outlook. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's been a power-packed, knowledgeable session. I only have time for one more comment, and I'm going to pass that on to Madam Zunaira. Madam, I'd like to ask you to speak to going back to the more ethical conversation we had. Obviously, it is a male-dominated field at the end of the day, and there will be certain biases, be it based on gender, be it based on ethnicity. What can we do to sort of counter this narrative?
Absolutely. Thank you, Anza. Yes, this is one of the most important concern that is associated with GPT-3. Remember, at the end of the day, it's only as good as its training data, right? And that training data at the end is probably supplied by a couple of engineers that are rolling around in the Silicon Valley, maybe. So the point is that there is no regulatory authority to, as such, ensure every company has an ethics team. But then again, ethics are also subjective. Other than that, there is no regulatory authority to ensure that the output that is being that processed from GPT-3 is it unbiased? Because studies have, is it inclusive? Because studies have shown that even if you compare it to Google search, the auto completion or the predictive text that's being generated is highly biased towards women, towards ethnicities, and towards other underrepresented and marginalized communities. So the solution for this at the end of the day is to have better moderation, because once GPT-3, there will be platforms that will be built on GPT-3. So the problem will continue to pass downstream. So if it is not caught at the very beginning, if things are not, if moderation is not included within the companies, this problem will continue to be aggravated. So that, I think, is the only solution, that we have an ethics team, we have a regulatory body that ensures that these AI models do not impact consumers, especially those in minority or underrepresented groups, in negative ways. So I think that's the only solution.
Thank you so much, Ms. Zunaira and gentlemen. It's been an honor and a privilege. Please keep contributing to the knowledge economy. And to my audiences, I am going to say this, whether or not you are in favor of it, the future is here and now, ladies and gentlemen. ChatGPT-3 is not just here to stay, but to take over. Upskill yourself. Let us know what you think about the discussion today. If you would like to share comments, feedback, please do so. And let us know if you'd like to have more discussions like these in the future. And with that, I'm signing off for today. Thank you so much for being a part of our audiences. If you want to learn more about who we are and what we do, log on to www.cxoforum.global. Thank you.
Thank you.